Holiday Tabernacle in Austintown. And today I'm going to be preaching about the power of the tongue. Holy Spirit, please speak through me. So recently I've been trying to tame and control my tongue. And ultimately, I want to have complete control over my tongue. And you may be wondering, okay, why is this so important? Why is it so important for you to try to control your tongue? Well, the Bible says in James 3:2, "For we all stumble in many ways, and if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, also able to bridle his whole body." So the Bible says right here that if you can control your tongue, you are a perfect man. And we know also from the Bible the only person who was perfect his whole life was Jesus. Jesus was able to completely control his tongue. And I come to church, and I come to Fine Arts, and I come to OIM events because I want to be closer and more like my Jesus. So the Bible also says that the tongue is like a rudder of a ship, right? And the rudder of the ship, it is at the front of the ship, and it helps you steer. The same is with our tongue. If your rudder is broken, you can't steer the ship. If your tongue is broken, you can't steer your body and your life the way you want it to go. This is why it is so important to recognize the power that our tongue holds. The Bible says, "By your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned." Justified is when God has full release of the penalty of sin. He accepts us. But condemned is sentenced to a particular punishment, especially death. This is so important to realize because our words can be justifying people or they can be condemning. So what have you said this week, this month, this year that has been justifying? And what have you said that's been condemning? So what are some ways that we can really tame our tongue? The first way is our words to others, right? We are all made in the image of God. And a lot of times when we get frustrated or we get angry with people, we want to say really mean words to them. But the Bible doesn't want us to do that, right? The Bible says that how great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. Small words can set off a forest fire in someone's life. What words have been spoken over you that have been set a forest fire in your life? Our second way we can tame our tongue is our words to God. We get to praise the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And we shouldn't be taking that for granted. 24/7 we get communication with the King of the universe, the God who created you. Don't take that for granted. Use your words and the tongue Jesus gave you to speak to God. And lastly, our words over ourselves. We are made in God's image. And the world wants us to think that we are defined by fear and anxiety and depression. But that's not what the Bible says. We need to change our words from, I have fear, I have depression, I have anxiety, to I am tempted by these things because I am not defined by them. Do not affirm or proclaim these things over your life because this isn't what Jesus has in store for you. Why does it often feel easier to say what the world tells us we have before we're able to say what Jesus tells us we have? The world wants to say that we have mental illnesses, insecurities, but what does Jesus say? He says we have authority. Authority over these things. We have authority because Jesus is final and eternal, and he is not passing like the things of this world. His death and his resurrection are where sickness, anxiety, depression, doubt, insecurity, and lack were finished forever. Do you understand? Jesus finished it all at the cross. He overcame your fear. He overcame your doubt. He overcame your sickness when he died on the cross for you. Jesus has more for us. The Bible says his plans are good, to give us a future and a hope. So don't speak things over your life that aren't of Jesus. So today, I want you to look at where you struggle. Maybe you struggle with speaking to others. So if that's the case, I encourage you to lift others up, build others up. What would Jesus say? If you struggle with speaking to God, I encourage you to pray, talk to him. I like to set reminders on my phone that remind me every few hours to pray. And last, if you struggle with speaking words over yourself, remember that we are chosen by Jesus. He has called us to be children of the King and not children of this world. So don't speak words of this world over yourself. So I challenge you today to write down what you struggle with and look at how you can better use your words. Thank you. Woo!